I am actually going to start with a box, Tim, because it's the fundamental of all other gift wrapping. Okay. Now, you asked for some of the tips, and the biggest tip is have good paper in the right amount of it. So most people cut too much paper.
They do.
And too much paper means it scrunkles in at the end and doesn't sit nicely. So the whole idea is to measure it, and you don't have to get out a tape measure. There's just some tricks for doing it by eye, because if you used a tape measure, you'd be there for the best years of your life.
You've been to my place.
Vivian, sometimes people think they're saving a bit of money by using the really thin, cheap paper from the $2 shops and stuff. But you're actually, it doesn't work well in the end. It tears, doesn't it?
No. Look, I don't tend to do that. I'm not about spending more than you have to. So I'm absolutely about, getting good value. But in fact, the really cheap stuff isn't good value because it rips and tears. And not only that, the corners and cheap paper don't like each other.
Yeah.
So get slightly better paper and use less of it. Right. So I'm going to ask the lovely Tim to choose. Do you want one of the ones with the Christmas trees on it, or are you plain gold traditional?
No, the Christmas trees.
The Christmas trees? Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to wrap a box, and I've actually pre-cut it. And my reason for that is so that I can just be very, very specific on the point I'm making.
Can I just say,
not a lot, is it?
As we're filming here, that doesn't look like enough paper to me.
Well, it is enough paper, Tim.
Yeah, I know.
You see, that's the tip. And the less paper you have, the more beautifully it will sit. So what I've got is enough to go round the girth of the present.
Gotcha.
And about 3/4 up the side. Can you see that?
I
about
see
3/4 up the side.
So you've got more paper one end.
Yeah, so I've got the paper in portrait position and I've got the gift in landscape position.
Gotcha.
And the reason I do that, if you can think it through, is that means the little flaps and the bit that I'll sticky tape in is actually on the short side.
Gotcha.
Because a flap is not the nicest bit.
Yeah, I'm paying very avid attention here.
Great.
Yeah.
Now, Tim, have you ever used double-sided tape?
No, you see, what I usually do is spend half an hour looking for the end of the sticky tape and drive myself steadily nuts doing that.
Well, that's known to all of us, that particular thing. Now, double-sided tape, 3 things. It's easy to find the beginning of double-sided tape, which is really good, especially if you're well into the wrapping and you're a bit exhausted. Number 2, you can actually just tear double-sided tape, so you don't even need to pick your scissors up again.
Which you just did.
Which I just did. Yeah. And the third thing is it means you can fold all of the edges under and they will look well wrapped. So that's another tip of that beautiful Instagrammable look.
I always feel stickier than normal sticky tape to me.
Well, double-sided tape is, and did you know that you can get super tack? And tack is the amount of stick in a sticky tape. So super tack
tack double-sided tape.
Yeah, it's fabulous. It changed my life, Tim.
It was a revelation, did it?
Changed my life.
Okay.
So what we do is we have the gift in portrait position, the paper in portrait position and the gift in landscape, and we're just going to bring it across like that.
Yeah.
And can you see how I'm pinching it there, Tim?
Yeah, I can, yes.
Okay. Then I'm folding it back out. And so I've got a nice folded under seam. I'll take my double-sided tape.
Oh, this is very cool.
Yeah. And I'm going to put my double-sided tape just near the top of that fold.
Yeah, so it's folded over. You're putting it on the top.
Yeah.
And then I know what you're going to do. So that's clever.
Okay, so I've just taken that backing off. I would never take the backing off in mid-air because then it will start flying around and it won't be so good. And then what I'm doing, so I'm just adjusting it, and there is always a bit of adjustment. Sorry,
No, I've got you. So the double-sided tape is now...
But can you see too, you can't see the seam.
No, you can't.
So the way I've done that is the seam is to the bottom, and it means when I put the gift like that, you can't see the seam, which is great too if you're trying to match a pattern.
Beautiful, yeah.
Yeah.
Now the 2 ends?
The 2 ends. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come over like that.
Yeah, well, that's what I try to do when I wrap it.
Just come over, and then I'm going to fold in.
Fold in.
Right in.
Right in.
Right in, and then up. Right in, Tim.
You could be making a bed, I'm not sure at this point.
But see, it is a bit like being a matron because you're just doing these things to make it all sit beautifully. And then what I do is I bring it up and I do the other end, and the reason I do that is because I'm pulling it as tight as possible.
So you haven't stuck anything yet?
Haven't stuck anything yet. No.
Vivian, with adding bits and pieces to once you've done the basic wrapping, I mean, I loved your idea there when you were talking about the whippersnipper and to do a little bit of the fake grass there. Is that where you can let a person know you've given thought?
Absolutely, to them. I come back to the fact the gift's the main game, but the wrap is an extra layer of love.
Yep.
And even if the wrapping isn't perfect, I've never seen anyone give a gift back and say, "I'm sorry, that seam isn't straight." Take that gift back. Never seen it. Never seen it.
Especially a 5-year-old.
No. They don't care about seams. My grandchildren certainly don't.
No, the paper's out in the garden before you know it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And look, the other thing is people say, and I totally agree with it, they say, I wouldn't go to all of the trouble for a little one to do all of that extra. Well, I've got 3 grandchildren under 5, and I have to say I wouldn't go for all of that extra, embellishment for their 20 gifts that are under the tree. Just simply wouldn't do it. But if it was for, my one big gift to someone...
A wedding gift or
a wedding gift.
Yeah.
My mum's 80th, that was a shingding. I went to a baby shower on the weekend, a 30th as well. So for those sorts of things, yeah, absolutely do go for a little bit
The
extra.
double-sided tape is a revelation to me.
It's a game changer.
It is a game changer.
I'm telling you.
Vivian, now be honest, please. Do you ever reuse paper?
Absolutely, I do.
Good.
I reuse paper and I reuse ribbons, but there's some tricks to that too. And here's the thing.
That's a perfectly wrapped box, by the way. And geez, you've taught me a few things. Wow.
And you can't see a single seam on it, which means you don't even need to put a ribbon on that. And my other winning thing is I just take the pads of my fingers, not my fingernails, and I just come down the side, and that's giving it a perfect edge.
Yeah.
Which
just
means
running it down the sides
if
of the
I
box.
want to photograph that, I've got that beautiful right angle.
That is stunning. Now, Jamie's got it all down, haven't you, Jamie? Doing her best impersonation of Quentin Tarantino, cinematographer. Now, that's terrific. You're going to put a ribbon around that quickly?
Yes, I am. So
Okay.
are you a dot man or are you a green and red man?
I love the green. Green says Christmas to me.
Green does say. Now, this is a wire-edged ribbon. It looks as if I'm using a lot, but I will reuse this ribbon.
Yeah.
So I think that's important if you can. The other thing is ironing ribbons. Always do that under Glad Bake because that means that you won't scorch or melt the ribbon.
Under baking paper.
Yeah, that stuff you make cookies on?
Yeah.
So you do it under that. This one's a double-sided ribbon. Here's another tip for you, Tim. If you want a big poofy bow,
That's what I want.
use ribbon that's got wire in it, a wire-edged ribbon, because that will bounce up and look fabuloso.
Okay. Well, that's just a lovely, beautiful bow done in about, 25 seconds?
Yeah, so I like this one. I am a bit secretly pleased you chose that because it's got red on the inside and green on the outside.
It's got red on the inside and green on the outside, the other way around, if you like.
Yeah, and then I'm just going to finish off the ends. There's 100 ways to do that, but just in the interest of today, I'm just going to make
trimming off the ends.
That's right, and pushing it up.
It's gorgeous. There you go. Take a shot of that, Jamie. There you go.